Joining me to discuss, CNN political commentator Scott Jennings. Scott, as I said, McCarthy hasn't made a public statement or public condemnation yet of Lauren Boebert. He did say that he spoke with her, and the comment he gave to CNN was she has apologized for what she said and has reached out to Congresswoman Omar to meet next week. I spoke with Leader Hoyer today to help facilitate that meeting so Congress can get back to talking to each other and working on the challenges facing the American people. Is that enough? Shouldn't McCarthy just come out publicly and say it was really awful what she said?
Well, I mean, certainly he would be, well within bounds to do so, because what she said, I mean, let's be honest, is garbage rhetoric from someone who's just not distinguished themselves so far and continues to drive their own personal brand lower and lower. But I think after talking to some people in the leader's orbit, John, what they're hoping to do here is embark on a strategy of behavior modification. A low percentage strategy, perhaps, but what they think perhaps is that talking to her behind the scenes, not going out and making a huge spectacle here. The hope is that they got her to do an apology. They're hoping that she does this meeting, and they're hoping that over time that prevents these kinds of things from happening again in the future. I'm dubious, that she's going to change, because I think when people, clearly show you what kind of politician they're going to be, it's hard to modify that kind of behavior. But that's what McCarthy is thinking here, in my opinion. And I hope it works, because this is not good for the country. It's not good for Congress. It's not good for the party. It's not good for our civil discourse. And so that's where we are, unfortunately. And I guess we'll see how she handles it this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's bigoted. I mean, she made a terribly bigoted comment in public, and she thought it was funny. I mean, it tells you where her mind is, which is a problem. It also tells you.
Well, not only did she make the comment, John, but she made up the story. I mean, apparently this didn't even happen. So she goes to a meeting, makes up a story that she thinks is funny. It's this whole sort of performative BS, and then she winds up apologizing, which in her world is the ultimate sin, right? The people she's performing for would say, well, you shouldn't apologize, for your commentary like that. So she's clearly someone who is thoughtless. I mean, this is a thoughtless politician who makes terribly bigoted statements that come from a story, that according to people who were involved didn't even happen. So you can see the level of talent we're dealing with here. It's very low, but it reflects on everybody who's in the party and everybody who's in the Congress, and that's why hopefully McCarthy's behavior modification strategy here works. Again, I'm dubious of this, but when you're the leader, you have to try to get an outcome, and I think that's what he's trying to do.
Well, I'm not so sure about the top secret mitigation strategy when there are clearly members who feel there's a permission structure to say this type of thing. I mean, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene's a whole separate issue. She's apparently putting demands on Kevin McCarthy if he wants her vote to be speaker, should Republicans take over. I mean, how much is the risk that he looks like he's catering to this extreme wing of the party?
Oh, there's definite risk, and I'm sure there are members of Congress. Well, I know there are. I mean, I've spoken to members of Congress who get so frustrated with these constant distractions and this constant, they don't want to be branded with these kinds of comments. They don't want to be branded by these jokers. They want to focus on the policy stuff where they think we're better than the Democrats, where they think they've got ideas that are going to defeat the Democrats and, lead to a Republican resurgence in the midterm elections. That's what they want to do, and yet all the oxygen is taken up by these conversations about these handful of members. The permission structure, though, comes from their supporters. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Boebert, Greene, some of these people raise copious amounts of money from people who enjoy this kind of performative display. And let's be also further honest, so did Donald Trump. He raised a lot of money from people who love this kind of stuff, too. So there's unfortunately a market for it, and Kevin McCarthy can't stop that. What he has to try to do, I think, is get them to knock it off to the best of his ability so that the Republicans can actually put up a unified, as much as possible, message as they go against what they think are overreaches from the Democrats. That's his challenge. And I'm guessing on many days it seems like an absolutely impossible task given what some of these people say, which is abhorrent.
Scott Jennings, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Nice to see you this morning.